长恨歌》。
The Song of Eternal Sorrow. The Emperor of Dong loved beauty and longed for a ravishing lady. He had been looking for a long time. In the house of Yang there was a young girl just grown. She was unknown to anyone, but she was of such beauty that she could not hide. One day she was chosen to be by the emperor's side. One smile from her charmed the emperor, and all the ladies in the 6 courtyards lost their colors. She bathed in the Hua Qing spa in chilly spring. The warm water smoothed her white skin. The ladies in waiting helped her slowly out of the water. All the emperor's affection was bestowed upon her at that moment. Her face was as pretty as a flower. She wore a swaying gold hairpin in her cloudy hair. Behind the peony curtain, they spent their spring night. The morning came too soon, and the sun rose too high. From then on, the emperor forsook the early court. There were banquets, outings, and night gatherings. In the courtyards, there were 3,000 ladies. They were all but forgotten. She daintily made up her face in the gold chamber to please him. She got ravishingly drunk at the end of the banquet. All her siblings were appointed positions in the court. Her surname was elevated to glory. All parents in the empire changed their minds about having sons. The palace pavilions reached blue clouds. Heavenly music wafted everywhere. She sang casually and danced mesmerizingly to the music. All day long the emperor could not move his eyes away. The rebels' drums thundered on the ground and startled the dance of the cloud and feather gown. 9 cities reeked of smoke and dust. Thousands and thousands of horses and carriages escaped toward the southwest. The jade headdress swayed and stopped. 100 miles out of the city's west gate, 6 battalions of soldiers refused to move until she was hanged in front of the horse. Her headdress and jewelry scattered on the ground. No one dared to pick up the golden bird and the jade hairpin. The emperor covered his face. Blood and tears mingled. The yellow dust rose in the chilly wind. The mountain path wound toward the peak. Beneath the Amai mountain there were few travelers. The banners were colorless and the sun was thin. The river of Shu was blue and the Shu mountain green. The heartbreaking of the emperor at the loss of his love was everlasting. In the palace away from home he grieved with the moon. In the night rain he heard the bells of her carriage. The sky churned and the earth rumbled when he again passed the spot. He hesitated and could not leave. On the dirt slope of Magui he could not see her face but only the grave. The emperor and his staff all cried. They looked east and let the horses take them back through the gate. The gardens and the palaces were all the same. So were the peonies and the willows. The peony was like her face and the willow her eyebrows. The emperor could not help but shed tears. The peach and plum blossoms opened, and the autumn rain brought down the foliage. In the western court of the South Palace, weeds grew abundant. The steps were full of leaves. The court musicians had newly gained white hair. The ladies in waiting were getting old. At night the courtyards were full of silent fireflies. Sleep did not come to him, even when the lamp burned dry. The night gong was slow and the night long. The Milky Way twinkled until dawn. The yuan-yang tiles of the palace were burdened with heavy frost. The jade-colored bedding was cold, with no one to share. The long separation was endless. The spirit had never once entered his dreams. There was a Tao monk from Lin Chao who could move his spirits to communicate. He heard about the emperor's heartache and asked to search for her spirit in earnest. He went fast as air and lightning, up to heaven and down to hell, to the underground and beyond the outer atmosphere. He could not find her anywhere. Then he heard about a fairyland outside the ocean. The mountain was beyond the beyond. Clouds covered the pavilions. Many celestial deities resided there. there was one named Taijin. Her beauty resembled this lady. The monk knocked on the jade door of the west chamber, a message for the celestial ladies-in-waiting to carry to her. When she heard it was from the emperor, she was startled behind her Zhouhua curtain. She put on her robe and pushed the pillows away, and the layers of gold and silver sheaths opened. Her cloudy hair was disheveled from the new sleep. As she came down the steps, her headdress was askew. The wind blew away her sleeves as if she was still dancing the cloud feather gown dance. Her beautiful face was full of tears like pear blossoms in the rain. She looked at the messenger with doleful eyes, and she wished to thank the emperor. Since the big separation, she was not able to hear his voice or see his smile. The great love affair in Zhouyang court had been in the past. Her lonely days in the Penglai palace were forever. She had looked down from above. Chang'an could not be seen, but only dust and clouds. She brought out things to be exchanged to show her undying devotion. The inlaid jewelry box and the gold hairpin to bring back. The lid of the box and one half of the pin she would keep. She hoped the emperor's feelings were as sturdy as gold. Someday, somewhere, they would meet again. She repeated to the messenger over and over about the vows they had taken in the hall of eternal life on the 7th day of the 7th month, at midnight when there was no one else around. In heaven they wished to be the birds, so that their wings will fly together. On earth the trees, with roots intertwined. The heaven and the earth will pass, but their sorrow will never end.